Hi, I am Claire, and this is a Victorian home I designed and built in The Sims 4. I am no means a historical expert. I was just kind of going with things I thought looked best in here. We are first starting off in this little entryway area. I was like having a little spot for a little chair and some shoes and a coat rack, and so we are going to have this house have a very prominent color of blue, light blue, baby blue. I don't know if that's like an accurate Victorian era color, but again, I was just going off of things I thought looked nice, and so we are just going to be making this entryway very simple. And I did want to add some rocking chairs up here on the front of the house, and again, just felt like it got very nice. When I think of Victorian homes, I do think of like those like kind of classic Christmas movies and those classic Christmas songs, and so that's why I was inspired to do a Victorian home for this week's build. It isn't like a crazy pack build, but it does use a few random packs like the Strangerville pack, the Vampire pack. I'm building this in the world that came with Get Together, so Windenburg, the Spellcaster pack, and so we are now in the office, library, and parlor room. I was thinking that this house would either be like restored or properly in the right time period, but I wanted there to just be this like kind of room on the front where maybe the men would come here and talk after a dinner, and then the women would go somewhere else. I feel like that was kind of historic, and so we are just going to be adding some tapestry from the Vampires pack. I do use that little tapestry in other places of the house, but in different swatches. And since was thinking that this would be like used as an office nowadays, I wanted to make sure there's a desk, but keeping it accurate to the time period, I'm using this computer that looks like a typewriter from the cottage living pack. And so we are just going to be adding these flower pictures, although I feel like I wanted this area to feel a little bit more masculine, and so I do move those pictures into the kitchen area, and so we are just going to be cluttering this desk up and going to just be rearranging it. I wanted all the rooms to have a little bit of blue, and so I wanted to incorporate it with the couch or the chairs and books on the table. You do have to go for this room to get to the first floor bathroom, and so we are just going to be finishing that up and using some items from the Vampires pack, because that pack has a lot of Victorian items in it. I was thinking of building this in the world of Willow Creek because it kind of goes with like the Goth's house where it's like Victorian, but I did build this in Windenburg, and so we are going to just be putting this Christmas tree up here in the front. I've been driving around my area looking at Christmas lights, and I do sometimes see like Christmas trees like in the front entry out the window, and I wanted to incorporate that aesthetic up in my house, and so we're just gonna be adding some Christmas presents and going to be now working on a fireplace. I did use the mirror picture TV, and so it's like accurate. Like, oh, there's not like a TV right there, but there is a TV right there, and I'm pretty sure that's the only item I used from that kit. But luckily, it's only $5 if you want to get that. It has some more like modern items in that kit, and so we are just going to be adding some side tables and going to be adding some more presents. And I was thinking that this family would be very wealthy. I don't know how to measure wealth in the Victorian era, but with all the presents, and this does have a 3 bath home, so maybe it has a little bit on the later side of the Victorian area where there was plumbing, indoor plumbing, or it could just be like restored house where they added that in later on, but they still want to keep it historically accurate. And so we are just going to be adding a little table over here and going to be adding some little decorative items. I didn't really know what else to put on this area, and so I just do come back and add some pictures. And so here we are changing that flower picture to be a picture from the Strangerville pack. And so we do have a back entrance with a little bit of a backyard, which I'll show you in a minute. But first, we are just going to be doing the kitchen space. This is kind of where that baby blue theme came from, and mostly through the tile, but I wanted to match it with the cabinets. And so I did realize when I was doing the kitchen, like, oh, proper dining rooms were actually kind of important in this time period with like hosting friends and like having like dinner parties, and like I forgot to add a dining room in this house. And so we do have a dining area in the kitchen, and I try to make it feel like it's its own space in here. And so I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out what appliances to use in the kitchen, if I should go for some base game fridge, or if I should go for the cottage living fridge. And so we are just going to be working on the dining area, and I do try to make this dining room feel like it's its own room, even though it is open to the kitchen. I just add some wallpaper to kind of give some definition to the space. I don't record that because I didn't think about that until this morning when I was editing this video, but I do also have a rug to kind of break up the tile, and so we are just going to be adding that rug. It is from Strangerville, and I do use a blue color, or no, I use a cream color for just to give some more differences, some more contrast. And so we are just going to be adding a flower picture into the dining room. Like I said, it was originally in the parlor room, and so we are just quickly going to be going outside and adding a little chicken coop. And so I know that grocery stores weren't really that accessible. I don't even know if they were a thing in the Victorian area, and it's like, wait, no, they should have a chicken coop to make it possibly a little bit more accurate. And so I did want to add a swing set because we are using the seasons pack, but it didn't really fit in the space I gave. You could like extend the fence on the side one more tile if you wanted to. I didn't want to because I knew I would have to edit just a little bit more, and I was happy with the space I gave. I also painted the fence blue instead of white. White was my original color, but I wanted it to be blue to kind of pop with the white snow, and it matches the house pretty nice. And so we are just going to be adding some kitchen decorations in here, again keeping with the blue theme. And so now we are just going to be adding just a few more things. I thought a U-log thing would be fun to add. I don't know if that is accurate, but I felt old-fashioned, and so I decided to keep it. And now we are just going to be adding some holly on the entryways, and I felt like it felt a little bit more Christmassy. I feel like I usually just add a tree when I'm doing some houses, and so I wanted to go a little bit more over the top with this house and add some holly. I do also add some of these wreaths on every single window in the front of the house. I didn't really want to add it on the back of the house because, you know, the front of the house, that's point that really matters the most. It's like the first impression, and so I did want to make this area feel very Christmassy in the front. You can maybe tell that the back of the house wasn't that decorated for Christmas, but we are now on the second level, and we're just working on this little landing space. So the primary bedroom is on the left-hand side of the stairs, which we are working on now, and this area was a little bit funny shaped, and I know I did that to myself. I probably could have added or made the room a little smaller, but I thought it would be nice to have a big space in this room, and so we are just going to be adding a red chair in the corner, and I wanted red to be the main color in this area, and I wanted that just so it could bring some more Christmas into the space, since red is a traditional Christmas color, and I felt like this room turned out pretty nice. Just going to be working on a little desk area and going to be adding this picture. I really wanted to add the desk area because I feel like I don't usually add desks in primary bedrooms, and I felt like this was a good spot to kind of branch out. I think every room does have a desk. Wait, no, maybe the teens room doesn't. I'll have to come back and see. And so now we are on the primary suite, or the primary bathroom, and so I just wanted this room to fit in with the one I did downstairs, so it does kind of come back to a blue theme down in here. And I feel like the blue theme also kind of came with the door handles. You can see that the knobs are blue, and so I just wanted this house to feel very intentional, and so we are just going to be adding a little plant in the corner, and maybe that isn't the most historically accurate thing, but it filled in the space, and honestly that was the thing that I needed just to fill in that space. And so we were just going to be adding some pictures into this main hallway area. And now we are going to be going into the child's room, which I was imagining would maybe be for a girl. I kind of designed it around that area, but I was trying to make it easily changeable if you didn't want this to be for a child girl. So we are just going to be adding a dresser and a little desk space in this little nook, and I don't know, it felt like it gave some nice privacy, and so we are just going to be using this one from the Realm of Magic just to get some more items from that pack, because I wanted to not just use the bookshelves from that pack, and so we are just going to be also using that chair. This felt like a nice little seating area by the cool window. Maybe Sims can get up in a book and cozy. And now we are just going to be adding a rug. I feel like that kind of faded pink matched pretty well with the flowers on the bed. And now we are just going to be adding some pictures, and again, I wanted this to be very easily changeable if you didn't want a child girl in this area. And so we are just going to be adding some glitter onto the desk, make it look like it's a nice little homework spot, and going to be adding a little fox, little bin. Again, I don't know if that would be a theme in the Victorian area, but I felt like it looked cute, and so we are just going to be adding some pictures. I felt it looked Victorian, and also the science table, which maybe wouldn't make sense at first, but I'm pretty sure Thomas Edison and the light bulb science stuff that happened in the Victorian era, and women were computers and stuff. Again, I'm pretty sure this is all things. I'm not a historical expert, and so we are just going into the hallway bathroom. Again, it's pretty much like the primary bathroom. It is a little oddly shaped, but I think it worked out pretty well. And we are just going to be adding a little tower with all the bathroom essentials, and going to be adding a picture onto in the room. And then that bathroom was pretty simple, and now we are on the last room of the house before I just do a few final details. And this is the teens room, and I gave this room a theme of green. Green is one of my favorite colors, and so it wasn't too hard to not choose it. And I guess mostly I chose it because of the bed. I kind of went for a French country look in here, and I feel like that room turned out pretty well. I do add a chest table and an art easel, and so we are just going to be adding these old-timey pictures from the Get Together pack, which I think is a really good pack because it has a lot of like new modern items and some like more older timey items like those pictures, and it has some more like handcrafted looking items like the dining table. And so we are just going to be changing these chairs into blue, and I really do like how this room turned out. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures and going to be adding just other little details. I felt like these picture above the bed, this collage would have been like cool if that's like somebody's like grandparents like writing, or like if this is like a restored house, then that could be like blueprints to the house or something, and maybe that picture in the living or loft area could be like the former owner of the house. And so we are getting close to the screenshots, and so I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm posting videos every single week, and that would mean the world to me if you would hit that like and subscribe button. Also follow me over on Instagram. And so we are just going to be finishing up. If you have any build suggestions for me, make sure to leave them down in the comments, and I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video.